Hi. Today I'm going to be going over the map creation and import process for Terminus. So, to start off, there's a few prerequisites. Um, for one, you're going to need the latest version of SpryTile. At the time of recording this, it should be this version from September 26th of 2020. And you're also going to need Blender 2.83, specifically the long-term service version. You are unable to download any other one of these for some reason. And Blender 2.93, while it does work, is only partial. So, for best compatibility with SpryTile, I would use 2.83. Once you have SpryTile installed, like the zip folder, go ahead and just open up a blank Blender scene and go to Edit, Preferences, and then Add-ons, and you're gonna click on Install and navigate to where you downloaded the SpryTile add-on zip file, and just select that, and you should be able to enable it from there. It's a very straightforward process. Once you have that, if you're to make a new object and then just go into edit mode, you'll see some new options on the left. Along with, if you drag this menu out, you'll see a SpryTile tab, which will have everything you need to work with SpryTile. There's a template file already provided within the Terminus repository that already has the material set up, and you should be able to work from there using the file. In case you don't want to use the default template file provided, or if you want to make a new material for use with modeling, of course, this is the node structure in order to get a desired material look in the Blender, essentially. It lets you see vertex coloring over the textures, and vertex coloring itself is very crucial to creating maps for Terminus, as Terminus does not support any illumination or lighting. So right here we have a flat plane, and the material over here, m_city outside. Another side note when working with Terminus maps is that you want to make sure that you prefix all of your materials with an m_, and also try to keep the material count very light. I use a method of texturing called Atlas, or Atlas maps. Essentially, that means all of my textures are in one single image file and one material. Since Terminus maps are grid-based, you want to make sure that you utilize Atlas maps to their fullest potential. The less materials in your map, the better. With that aside, you want to select this flat plane and go into edit mode. And on the left, if you've installed SpryTile successfully, you will see the 3 SpryTile tools. And on the right, you should see the SpryTile painter menu. If not, it might look like this over here, which you just drag this arrow out and select the SpryTile tab on the right. So you want to go into this this panel here, and you'll see this open list. So what you want to do is click on this down arrow here, and then click on Validate Tile Grids. Now you should see any materials that have been set up in this scene appear right here. And you can configure the grid, though the default one is just fine. These are 32 by 32 pixel tiles. So with that selected, we can enter into the SpryTile build mode, and you can see that you can start drawing these tiles out. Deleting them is just like how you would with any other Blender model. You just go in the select mode and then select all the things you want to delete and delete it. It won't cause any issues. You'll see your tile set on the bottom left here, which you can move by holding down shift and middle mouse button. So if it's not in a desired position, that's how you move it. And when drawing out levels, your camera's orientation is very important. So usually you're going to be facing downwards, which will let you draw out like a floor. But if you face by the side, the indicator will show you that you're going to start drawing like a wall. And the same thing for over here. So if you want to move this origin point, you just hold down S on the keyboard. And this is very important when it comes to making maps. So as you can see, once you understand the workflow, it's very easy to start constructing whatever you want. So I just made this simple mound. When it comes to adding multiple tiles at once, that is indeed supported. So for things like this door, you can do that. And if you want to flip the tile, there's an option up here, flip X and flip Y. So you can add texture variations if you so choose to do so. Just make sure you untoggle it once you're done. There's a paint feature which lets you paint on existing tiles without adding new ones. This makes UV mapping very trivial. And there's some other features that you should be aware of when using this paint tool, such as a stretch X and stretch Y, which, while it's not too big of an issue here, since we have evenly done tiles, if you were to create a variation within the tiles, such as, let's say, a slope, without the stretching, you can see how this does not look proper. But if we enable this, it fixes that issue entirely. Like I said, it makes UV mapping very trivial when it comes to designing maps for Terminus. There's also hinting, which if you're having problems with orientation and you know, how your textures orient themselves, hinting will help you fix that by allowing you to well, the textures will essentially follow how you see the plane that you're looking at in the viewport. It's a little bit weird to explain, but it does help if you're having problems with making sure all of your textures are aligned properly. I believe that's it for when it comes to building maps. When it comes to vertex painting, you just go into the vertex paint mode, and you're going to want to make sure that you select the dirty vertex colors option, which will do something like this. And if that's too strong, you're able to open up this menu on the bottom left and configure the look of everything. This isn't too bad for first time around, if I'm being quite honest. I've seen a lot worse. But if you change the angle a bit, you can get a much nicer looking look to it. Sorry, I'm at a loss of words. So now that we have our map, make sure that you name your map, first off, to something sensible, not cube. Name it to, let's just call this map, okay? And I apologize for my phone going off in the background. So we have our map here, and we have our material. So let's go ahead and save our map. I already have a test folder for interiors. This isn't quite frankly an interior, but let's just give this the test2 folder. And we'll call the blend file the same thing, test2. Now we export this to GLTF 2.0. This is the best format for Godot games. It doesn't matter whether or not you use binary or embedded. Binary works just fine. In terms of export settings, make sure that vertex colors are included with your export, and make sure that compression is disabled. Everything else should be fine. Apply modifiers. If you have modified your mesh, or well, applied a modifier to your mesh, make sure that you check that. And now we go into Godot. We can go into Model, Maps, Interiors, Test2, and see our map here. So it looks really weird, doesn't it? Like, the textures look all washed out. That's not right. In case your material does get overridden, the ones in the material folder, specifically, there's a shader folder with the PlayStation 1 shader material. You want to go ahead and drag this over into your mesh. So here, under material, just drag this here, and you'll already notice that the vertex coloring pops like it does in Blender. Make sure you make this unique, so it doesn't overwrite the original, file. And then go to the shader parameter, and where it says albedo text, grab the texture, which I believe was the city outside texture, and then just drag it over. You'll already see it looks a million times better. And go ahead and save your texture, or save your material rather, sorry. And that should fix it. And be sure to clear out the original one. So now you have your map, and there's some things you can go from, some things you can do from here. What I personally do is I just cut out the mesh here where it just says map, and then disregard the import file. And I go into a scene. I'll use this original test map I made last night by the time I'm recording this video. I'm just gonna save this as test 2. And let's just rid of the map and paste in our new map. So with the environment that I made, everything is perfectly lit with a bit of fog. Our player is over here, so let's go ahead and move him. And then let's make sure the map has collision by going up here and clicking on the mesh tab and create tri-mesh static body. So now you should see these blue outlines lining the entire mesh. If that annoys you, you can set the visibility of the static body it just made to off, and it won't bother you anymore. So now all that's left to do is go into the game and see how it looks. And voila! You've created a map for Terminus. It's as simple as that. This video only covers creating the map geometry, but I would like to go and delve into creating entities and other interactable things within the maps. But for now, the map importing process is easy as ever.